What's up guys, Jason here. In this video I'm going to be teaching you how to make a simple and efficient automatic Minecraft Bedrock Pillager XP farm. This farm works on all platforms of Minecraft Bedrock Edition. As you guys can see here, this farm quickly produces a ton of arrows and ominous bottles. It also allows you to easily get to level 30 or higher. For this farm, you'll need 2 chests, 1 hopper, 1 rail, 1 minecart hopper, 4 pistons, 4 observers, 4 redstone torches, 1 trident. By the way, the trident can have any level of durability because it will never break in this farm. 1 lever, 42 kelp, 5 glass blocks, 12 leaves, 2 water buckets, 3 signs, 1 cobblestone wall, 1 soul sand, 3 torches, 45 glass panes, 1 empty locator map, and finally about 7 stacks of solid blocks. You can use any solid block that you want. A couple examples of solid blocks are smooth stone or cobblestone. The first step is to go to a pillager outpost. Once you're at a pillager outpost, go to the top floor. Now break any chest that is up here. Then place a glass pane at each of these spots. Once you're done placing those glass panes, kill any pillagers near the outpost. After you have killed the pillagers near the outpost, back up about 30 blocks from the outpost. Now wait for pillagers to spawn in the glass panes. By the way, if no pillagers spawn even after waiting for a while, try switching your world difficulty to peaceful and then to hard. Once pillagers spawn in the glass panes, go over here. Then break all the glass panes except for the 4 glass panes that are surrounding the pillagers. The spot where the pillagers are standing is the pillager spawn spot. The pillagers are standing on the middle of the 4 pillager spawn spot blocks. The next step is to find the southeast block of the pillager spawn spot. To do that, open an empty locator map. Now position yourself so that your arrow is pointing towards the top of the map. This direction is north. Now turn so that your arrow is pointing towards the right side of the map. This direction is east. Then turn so that the arrow is pointing towards the bottom of the map. This direction is south. Since this direction is south and this direction is east, I know the southeast block of this pillager spawn spot is over here. Replace the southeast block of the pillager spawn spot with a different solid block. It's really important that you mark this spot correctly. The next step is to break these 3 blocks. Then kill the pillagers. Once you have done that, break the blocks that are around the glass panes. Now place a block at each of these spots. After you have done that, break these glass panes. Then break all the blocks of this pillager outpost down to the first floor. By doing this, it will be easier for you to make the farm. Once you're done breaking all blocks of the pillager outpost down to the first floor of it, the farm should look like this. The next step is to place 3 blocks over here. Then extend this 3 block high wall around this area. Once you have done that, place a glass block over here. That glass block will push pillagers that spawn over there down there. Now place a leaf block at each of these spots. Those leaves will prevent mobs from spawning over there. The next step is to go down here. Now place 4 blocks over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then extend that 4 block high wall around this area. After you're done with that step, the farm should look like this. The next step is to place 4 blocks over here. Then go up here. Now place water at this spot. As you guys can see there, that water should flow over towards that corner. That water will push pillagers that fall down here over there. Now break these 3 blocks. Then place a block over here and a cobblestone wall over here. Then place 3 blocks over here, 3 over here, and 1 over here. Then place 4 blocks over here, and 4 over here as well. Then place a block at this spot. Now place 6 blocks like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then do the same thing on this side. Place 6 blocks over here. After you have done that, place 2 blocks over here and 1 over here. Then place a sign over here and a sign over here. By the way, that cobblestone wall will push pillagers that fall down here up there. The next step is to place 3 blocks over here and 3 over here as well. Then place 5 blocks like this. Now place water at this spot. Make sure that water flows this way. Then place 3 blocks over here. After you're done with that step, break this block. Then place a block at each of these spots. The next step is to place 36 solid blocks over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. After you have placed those 36 solid blocks, go back down here. Then place 36 blocks at each of these other spots. Once you're done with that step, the farm should look like this. The next step is to place a block over here and 2 blocks over here. Then place 5 blocks over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now fill in this outline with solid blocks. After you have done that, place a piston at each of these spots. Make sure those pistons face the correct directions. Then place a redstone torch at each of these spots. After you have placed those redstone torches, place an observer over here. Make sure the top arrow of that observer is pointing that way towards that piston. Then place another observer over here. The top arrow of that observer should be facing that way. Then place an observer at this spot. Make sure the top arrow of that observer is facing towards that piston. Finally, place an observer over here. The top arrow of that observer should be facing that way. It's really important that you place all your pistons, redstone torches, and observers correctly. The next step is to throw a trident at that piston. By the way, the trident can have any level of durability because it will never break in this farm. Then place a lever over here and flick it down. Once the pistons stop moving, flick it up. As you guys can see there, that should cause the pistons to move around infinitely. That will be the trident killer in this farm. It will automatically kill all the pillagers. Now flick this lever down to shut the trident killer off. The next step is to place 4 solid blocks over here, and 3 over here. Then place 3 over here as well. After you have done that, place another layer of solid blocks like this. Then place 4 glass blocks over here. Those glass blocks will allow you to see the pillagers in this farm. Then go to this back area. Now place 5 blocks over here, 5 over here, and 5 over here as well. Once you have done that, break this block. Then place a layer of blocks over here, and another layer of blocks over here. The next step is to place a sign at this spot. That sign will prevent water from flowing into the trident killer. Then place water over here. That water should flow like that. Now go down here. Then place kelp from here to the top of the farm. This kelp will turn all this water into water source blocks. That will allow the bubble column to flow all the way up here. Once you're done placing that kelp, go back down here. Then break the bottom kelp. That should cause all the kelp to break. Now replace this block with soul sand. As you guys can see here, that should create a bubble column. The bubble column will push pillagers up here. The next step is to place 4 blocks over here, and 2 over here. At this point, make sure there is still a trident in the trident killer. If you picked it up, make sure you throw it back in. Now go down here. Then place solid blocks from here to the top. After you have done that, place ladders from the ground all the way up here. These ladders will allow you to easily access the farm. Once you are done placing those ladders, count 4 blocks down from this spot. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then place 2 blocks over here, and 3 blocks over here. Then crouch down and place 2 chests over here. Now crouch down and place a hopper at this spot. Make sure the nozzle of that hopper is pointing downwards towards that chest. Then crouch down and place a rail over here. By the way, it does not matter what direction the rail is facing. Then place a minecart with hopper over here. After you have done that, place a block at each of these spots. By the way, it's really important that the minecart with hopper is under one of the 4 blocks of the Trident Killer floor. That will be the collection system in this farm. The minecart with hopper will collect all the loot. The hopper will then funnel the loot into that collections chest. The next step is to place 4 blocks over here, and 4 over here. Those blocks will prevent phantoms from spawning while you use this farm. Now place a torch at each of these spots. Those torches will prevent mobs from spawning on those parts of the farm. At this point, if you made this farm in a cold biome, place a sign at this spot. That will prevent that water from freezing. I am now going to do a quick fly around so you can check and make sure I've made this Pillager XP farm correctly. Over here, there should be the Trident Killer and collection system. Down there should be the bubble column. Finally, over here, there should be this Pillager spawning chamber. Make sure all the water flows like that. I am now going to show you all how to use this farm. To use it, first flick this lever up. That will activate the Trident Killer. Now just wait over here. Pillagers will spawn on the pillager spawn spot, then get pushed off by the glass block into the water. The water will then push them into the bubble column. The bubble column will push them into this Trident Killer where they will be automatically killed. You will collect the XP over here and the loot will get funneled down into the collections chest. Whenever a pillager captain is killed, you can get an ominous bottle. By the way, if you want to get more loot at a time, hold a sword that is enchanted with looting 3. The looting 3 effect will be applied to the trident. This farm is a great quick and easy way to get loot and XP. Whenever you're done using this farm, flip this lever down to shut the Trident Killer off. You can collect the loot down here. If this farm does not work for you, try switching your world difficulty to peaceful and then to hard. Also, try setting your world simulation distance to 4 chunks. You can do that by leaving the world and going into the world settings. Also, make sure you mark the southeast block of the pillager spawn spot correctly. If any pillagers spawn outside the farm, cover any areas where they spawn outside the farm with leaves. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make this simple and efficient automatic Minecraft Bedrock Pillager XP farm. Please like, comment, subscribe, and check out my other Minecraft videos. Thanks for watching.